Hey everybody, this is Brian Goulet of gouletpens.com and the Ink Nouveau. I want to share with you here my first video reaction to the Pelikan Edelstein ink collection. This came out about 3 days ago, came into the US, and I have been shipping out quite a few of them. Everybody's been excited about them, but there's really been no full detailed review about what the ink is actually like. We've seen pictures of the bottles and stuff like that, so I wanted to kind of tell you what my reaction is after having inked up all 6 colors. Now we're still waiting on onyx to come in, so there's 7 colors total in the collection, but I don't have onyx yet. So this will just be jade, mandarin, topaz, aventurine, sapphire, and ruby. So I'll go ahead and let you check out everything and explain exactly what my process was for testing out these inks. So here is the Pelikan Edelstein ink collection. Okay, you'll have to forgive the mess in the background because I just put more of a focus on getting this done quickly than getting everything nice and clean and all that. But these are what the boxes look like, the outer boxes. There have been no pictures of these released before the ink came into the US. So this is pretty cool. I gotta say, the packaging is real nice. This is the nicest outer packaging I've ever seen. My parents were in the printing business for years, and I grew up doing these kind of packages and stuff for customers of theirs, and so I know this is expensive. Here you've got embossing here in with the logo. You've got different colored corners there depending on the color of the ink. You know, this is not cheap to do. So they really did it right, and I gotta say the design is pretty awesome. It looks really incredible. I've got all 6 colors lined up here, and I want to show you what the insides of the bottles look like. Alright, so here we have the Pelikan Edelstein ink collection. I want to show you mandarin because mandarin shows you the best of what the inside of the bottle looks like. So this is the packaging that I showed you before, and my hands are pretty big, so you can kind of get an idea. My hand from here to here is 8 inches, so that'll give you an idea of about the size of what this bottle is. It's a pretty hefty size, and it's pretty good weight too. So you open the thing up, it's real nice. Got this kind of, you know, flat thing here on the top, and immediately you see the Pelikan logo. It's got these nice little foam pieces in here that you can just take right out, kind of protect the cap a little bit, I guess. So set those aside, and you pull out the bottle, and there you go. Real nice design. It's like a flawless glass. There's no ripples in it or anything like that. It just it looks really smooth. It has these kind of concave sides here, so it feels really good to the touch. And I don't know how they put this logo on the front, but it's really well done. It's not a sticker or anything like that. This is actually you know, I don't know if it's etched or something like that, some kind of ink imprint or something. I don't know how they do it, but it's really cool. And then down here in the bottom it says mandarin. And it says that for each of the different colors. So really nice, really well done. As far as a usable inkwell, it's not too bad either because granted it's not like a V shape or anything that would be perfectly ideal, but this is pretty good, pretty usable for an inkwell. I know it looks small in the pictures and stuff like that, but it's a pretty good size. So anyway, it's 50 milliliters, and this is what you can expect for the ink to look like. Now what I did for my ink test is I have a Pelikan M800 that I just got in. You know, about 2 weeks ago, and I've been waiting for the Edelstein to come in. So this is my holy grail pen. It's a blue M800, and it's the brand new italic 1.5 millimeter italic nib. So I can't get it to focus there, but anyway, I figured it would be really good for testing out these inks, especially because I heard that they had some good shading properties. So I thought this would be the perfect pen, and I got the pen first, and I waited for these inks to come in before I decided to ink up this pen. So, just to give you an idea here, like in terms of the bottle size, this is an M800, so this is a pretty good size pen. I mean, it's not the smallest, but it's not the biggest either, but as you can see here, you know, no problem whatsoever. I've got it inked up with a different ink, so I'm not going to dip it in there, but you can see I got plenty of space to dip it in there. Not a problem at all. You're not going to have a problem fitting your fattest pens into this bottle. So here we'll dive into the notebook here and check out what it actually is like to see some of this stuff in action here. So I wrote with all of the inks in 4 of my notebooks, and I'll just open up one here. This is the Corvadas Habana, and the reason I like this is because it shows the truest color and it draws a really fine, really sharp line. It doesn't have a lot of spread when you put the ink down, so it stays true to the line that you're trying to draw, which holds the ink in place and gets you a really nice true color. So I'm going to try and show here, if I can, if it'll let me focus, what some of the shading looks like, because that's really where this shines. I know some people are going to be disappointed with the level of saturation that this ink has, but it'll make up for it with that shading, if shading is your thing. Now, some people don't know what shading is, and that's okay. If you're new to fountain pens, and you probably don't know what shading is. Shading is the variation that you have with your pen when you are putting down a lot of ink and a little bit of ink. So like, for example, let's go here to the D. You see the top of the loop of the D has less ink than the bottom, so it's a lighter color and it's darker at the bottom. That's called shading. When you have a ballpoint pen or a rollerball pen, your entire letter is going to look exactly the same dark saturated color, but the shading is the variation of color, and it's not an accident. It's meant to be that way. In fact, that's a very highly desired feature of writing with a fountain pen. That's one of the biggest things that people like about it. So you can kind of see up close here a little bit what some of these inks look like in writing. I think the most popular color is going to be topaz. Aventurine is a really nice green. You know, jade is a really nice color as well. Ruby is probably not going to be so hot. It's a nice red, but it's not saturated enough. And mandarin is pretty good too, except, you know, there's a lot of orange. When you have a lot of orange on the page, it can be really hard to get into it. So here's some sapphire. Okay. Again, this is all written with my M800 italic. So this kind of gives you an idea. This ink was a little drier than I'd hoped. I was expecting something more like a Jeroboam Eclat de Saphir, but this is much closer to, in fact, a little more purple than the Diamine Sapphire Blue. Okay. Here's your topaz. This is a really nice blue, very much of a turquoise, great shading. This is one of the wetter writing Edelstein inks. Very, very much a pleasure to write with. I think this one's going to be a real winner. And then you have Aventurine. This is a nice solid green. This has a lot of shading. I mean, just really, really awesome stuff. You can see just some of the variation in color on this ink. Okay. And let's go to jade. Jade's really nice. Jade is it's like a more saturated Jeroboam Verbiceda. Very similar to the Diamine Delamere green. A lot of shading on this one. This one wrote not wet or dry, it was kind of middle of the road. Okay, then you have, this is Ruby, which is really kind of leaning towards the pink side. You can see pink. A lot of shading, really good, but you know, I think there's been a lot of good reds that have come out lately, so I don't know if that one's going to be a real keeper. We'll see. And then mandarin. Mandarin's a really nice orange. It's kind of a lot when you have it on the page. It's easier to read on the ivory. When you have a full page of white with mandarin on it, it's a bit much, unless that's what you're going for. But really good shading. So there you go. That's kind of the grand tour of the Pelikan Edelstein collection. I think that a lot of people had misconceptions about what this ink was. I think you were thinking it was probably a highly saturated, very dark, very rich tones. It's not such that way. I think a lot of people were hoping that it was going to be a very lubricated ink, similar to the Iroshizuku's. And you know, I think people were hoping that Pelikan would get away from their normal dry writing ink, but Pelikan really is one of the only dry writing inks out there. So it's good to have a dry writing ink in your collection, because if you're writing on paper that's very absorbent and you're writing with a wet writing ink, you're going to have a lot more problems with the bleed through, you know, the ink coming through the back of the page, problems with feathering and spreading where the ink just kind of spreads out. So it's good to have a dry writing ink every now and then. So this is kind of the only high-end dry writing ink that's out there, with the exception of the Topaz and the Aventurin, which are fairly wet. The rest of them are fairly dry. So you know, you're not going to want to use it in every situation, but I think it definitely has a place. So, you know, we'll see how it pans out. It's brand new stuff, so we'll see how everybody accepts it. But anyway, I don't think anybody can argue that this stuff is just gorgeous. I mean, the packaging is just amazing. So anyway, I hope this was kind of helpful for you to kind of clear up what's going on with this ink. I'm going to spend some more time with it. I'm going to really look to post some detailed stuff, some videos of the individual inks, spend some more time getting into it. But that's kind of just the broad overview right now, just to satisfy your curiosity, since it's kind of unknown as to what this ink is like right now. So anyway, thanks a lot. I appreciate you spending your time with me. Email me at brian@gouletpens.com if you have any questions about this ink or what it's like. Be sure to check back on inknouveau.com often, as I'll be posting reviews of all of these inks. And thanks a lot, and I appreciate you spending your time with me. Right on.